There's a beginning and end.
You're listening to 108.9 FM. Adjust your frequencies, fine-tune your mind and brace as you prepare to fall through the trapdoor.
The universal is a dream of magic.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you are in the world, folks. You're listening to another episode of 108.9 Trapdoor Radio with me, your host, Lloyd Barnes. I'm here to spill all the sawdust from between my ears out into your brain cavities to talk to you about all things related to the weird, mysterious world of magic. We'll be covering some new products in this video, some new magic products that are on the magic marketplace. We'll be talking about some interesting controversies that have been going on with the magic app world, and I'll be sharing with you just some small insights into just something that you could all possibly add into your magic to instantly make your tricks that much better. Some of you probably mostly already do this, but I noticed there's so many magicians, including the pros, that forget to do this one tiny thing, and it could literally take your magic to the next level. So get ready, grab yourself a nice warm glass of cocoa or a cold beer, slice of pizza preferably, and settle in for the next hour as we discuss the weird and wonderful world of magic. You know what? That intro wasn't too bad. First take, stumbled a couple of times, managed to pick myself up, dust it off, get on with the show. I hope you guys are all having a good week. It is what is it? July 3rd today. Tomorrow's Independence Day, so happy Independence Day to all y'all Americans out there. All my friends and family over in the States. Hope you all have a great day wherever you are in the world. It's the British summer here. So I'm here in Wales right now, South Wales, and I'm wearing multiple layers of clothing because there's a funny joke that people say, which is the summer is the best day of the year here in the UK because we have such terrible weather. And I think that's running true because on Monday, it was blistering hot. We get like we get heat waves in the UK, and the temperatures to my foreign folk wherever you are in the world are like laughably low in comparison. But we don't have the infrastructure to handle that weather here. So like we don't have any AC in the buildings, and our buildings, like my house for example, is 100 years old. Made of real like thermal brick kind of things, and they're designed to keep heat in. And I've been to 41-degree Vegas heat, which I think is like around 110, 112 in make believe temperatures. But I've been to like the Vegas desert heat. I've been to I was in Greece once in the middle of a heat wave. I think I got to like 43.5, which is like up around like 100 and I don't know, roughly 115 in pretend in pretend values. I'm sorry, I don't know why I don't offend anyone. And yeah, the heat is much more manageable in other countries. So it's not as like this. There's something to it here, and I keep seeing like these like Instagram memes of people who come here being like, I can't deal with this British heat, and it's true. It's true. Anyway, so Monday night, I was surfing by local beach just up the road. I was literally, me and my pal Nikki was surfing, and it was blistering hot. And normally, like, I went in just a rash vest, and we'll get to the magic now. But I just need to offload because I don't speak to anybody these days. We went in a rash vest, and normally, like, you could feel the chill in the wind as soon as you're up on the board or like just paddling out. But I was literally like my skin. Well, I did burn. I'm fully burnt because I do wear sunscreen normally in hot weather. I just didn't think about it. I was like, it's Wales. And then my son Thomas has had much fun peeling my shoulders over the past couple of days. But yeah, so anyway, that was Monday. Brilliant, lovely, hot weather, beautiful. Wimbledon started. All the tennis players were sweltering. And now I'm wearing multiple layers of clothes. So go figure. Anyway, I hope you all had a great week. I have been a busy boy. I've been working on loads of magic products and projects and things in between. I want to say thank you to all the new Patreon signups. If you haven't done so already, head over to patreon.com/Lloyd B. You can learn that new. Well, if you haven't signed up already, then you probably haven't seen it. It's called the Infinite A Can. I talked about it in the last episode, possibly. I put a discount code up to join the Patreon and get all 50 other things. I'll stop nattering about that. But I want to say thank you to all of you that have signed up. If you've watched Craig Petty's review show special on it, thanks to Craig for giving it such a glowing review. I mean, we're best friends in Magic, so it's very difficult for for either of us to talk shit on each other's work. I totally get that. I kind of get the sense though whenever I show Craig stuff and he shows me stuff, we have constructive feedback. 9 times out of 10. We say, oh well, what if you did this? Or I would do it this way, or I would change it up this way. And the telling thing to me was that when I showed Craig the Infinite Acan, he was freaking out. He was really fooled by it because he thought he knew what was happening, so it kind of caught him out. And then he was like instantly, he's like, I want to review this. I want to put a special show up about this, and he had like no notes. And which is like very rare. So like that's kind of like when you have your Magic friends, and sometimes they don't want to tell you, hey, like just that trick sucked. So they go around it in a different way. We all kind of do that. And this was one of those very rare occasions where Craig had no notes, and I actually genuinely believe like he really liked it. Well, it seems like it did anyway. So anyway, the only place you would have seen it if you haven't joined Patreon is on Craig's show. I'll probably post a fuller performance on my YouTube channel when I get around to editing it. I'm in no rush. But I just want to say thank you all to all the new signups. Be like actually a metric ton of you that have signed up to learn it. So yeah, just wanted to say thanks to all of you for doing that. In other news, for me, I wear many hats when I do my work for Murphy's Magic, and lately I've been doing like loads of it's really tricky. They changed their packaging workup, their packaging design up a year ago or so. So all the packaging is this like kind of Apple-esque white packaging with that focus if you're watching this on YouTube. Which is okay. It's, I prefer the packaging that like I designed for like Lux and other things like decks and stuff. But it's interesting because you kind of have to like find new ways to make the same style interesting and appealing all the time. So I've been doing that, and then we did a bit of problem solving. So I've been doing some packaging design, which is okay. I love doing design work in all forms. So it's always fun to do that. And then we've been doing a bit of problem solving behind the scenes. And problem solving is some of the best things that I get to do as a creative consultant. And I think it comes in all sorts of forms. Like people think that when you're literally a hired consultant, that you just create magic tricks, but often it's like all encompassing. Like I know, and I've been like working on TV shows in the past. It's not just about like, oh, here's the idea for the trick. It's like, right, how do we get the trick made? How do we get around filming that in a public area, whatever it's going to be? How do we actually get permission to do this? How can we use this brand? And a lot of the work for consultants, and I think a lot of people don't realize this when they dream of being a consultant. A lot of it is problem solving in every other area except the trick quite often. And that seems to be the case. It seems to have been the case this week at Murphy's, working on projects for all of you to get your filthy little paws on. And we come up with some really fun, creative solutions. One of them being to, without delving into it too much, there's a new app coming out with Murphy's. And one of the issues was we needed to issue 2 license keys for one thing, but you can't quite do that. And I'm not a software or tech guy, so I don't understand the technicalities of it. So we had to get creative with a really interesting method of how to do that. Like there are some people that just give you there are some app developers that just send out fake license keys that always work, and no matter what you put in. We didn't want to do that. We had to have like a legit system in place, and it sounds very cryptic. I wish I could tell you what we did. The other thing was we had to. The other thing, I'm trying to get very close to this. I can probably tell you. Very, very rarely, and this kind of ties into a question that's going to come in later. But what I create for me, it's for tricks that I want to do. But every now and then, I'll be given a task, or you need to create a trick using this. A prime example is the cherries. If any of you seen the probably one of the things that got like the best reception from like everyone that I've done is the cherry playing cards peak box. So the black cherries, I put up a free tutorial and it's on the Murphy's Magic 7 Secrets event video. That's where it first went up live. It's a method to put a drawn image on a playing card or a bill into the deck of cards, and the cards are inside the box, and somehow you can pick that image. And the method is, I wish I had it right here with me. I don't think I do. But the method is super cool. Basically, I took advantage of the black box design and I kept the cellophane on the box, but I cut out a black portion of the box and put tilted privacy screen on it. Do I have any privacy screen here? Don't think I do. So basically you can, it looks just like the exact box, but actually I can see through the box at an angle. It's really, really, if you haven't seen it, go and look for like the Black Cherries Peak box or something. Actually, is it on my YouTube channel? I'm saying all this and I could probably find it somewhere on here. If you guys are watching on YouTube, by the way, don't forget to please hit that subscribe button. And I didn't say this in any of the stream last week or any of the show last week, but if you are watching this or listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, then please hit that follow button and the notification bell so you know when the next episodes go up. I'm just looking for this video. Aha, cool. All right. Hit it. If you're on YouTube, you're going to be able to see this on screen. So this is the Black Cherries box. Let me just see if I can fast forward to the cool part. So basically, all right, I'm going to talk. If you can't see this, this is what's happening on screen right now. I'm signing or drawing an image. I think in this case, I'm drawing an image onto a playing card, right? And then, oh, I used to like that watch. Where's that watch gone? I'm going to try and find that watch again. Anyway, right. So that I take the box out. The box has the deck already inside it. The box has the cellophane open. I open the tuck lid, place the card anywhere into the middle of the deck of cards, face down, and then I can show the box all around 360 degrees, and I can turn it over. You can see that it's completely covered up. And in that moment, right there on the screen, I'm looking at the information. And you'll see if you're watching this on YouTube that when I tilt the box up, it's because it's a privacy screen. And like I can actually see through the box. So I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, got really, really good, well received feedback. And I tell you this because that was the Murphy's called me up and they said, hey, we're doing this big event. It's the 7 Secrets to promote the Cherries brand, one of the most popular brands of playing cards within the Magic industry. So we're doing this big event, and it's going to have loads of lecturers, and it's going to have loads of people taking part, blah, blah, blah. And 7 people are going to teach something. So can you come up with something, preferably using the Cherries playing cards, to teach? So that was in the morning, like 10 a.m. And by like 11:30 a.m., this was the idea. And I wanted to just like, and so that was like I was asked to create something and I made it. And the reason I'm explaining this so heavily is that oftentimes people will look down their nose at people who have created something because they needed to. Because some people who are snobs in magic, I don't know if the word is called a snob in America, but like people who look down their nose at you, like the ones who think they are like the too cool for school guys, think that only the best tricks, the best creations comes out of necessity and tens of years of refinement. And I think even in the last episode, or actually I think I did the magic podcast with Craig last week, and I was saying not every single trick needs to be worked on for 10 years before it can be used. That trick was 1 hour and 30 minutes from start to finish. I have used that peak box. I know literally hundreds of magicians that have contacted me saying they use this. They literally gone out, started performing it. They carry it with them everywhere they go. And it was 90 minutes of brain effort, if that. So I want to mention it's because I'm coming to my next point. I'm rambling as I always do. But I always get kind of like defensive when I say, "Oh yeah, I created this really quickly." All my tutorials on YouTube, like 95% of them were created same morning of recording. So I would get to the office, I would at 8 a.m. or 8:30 or 9, I would be like, right, what am I gonna make up today? And then I would sit there for an hour, have a little jam session, come up with some stupid gimmick, film it, and then go off and it'd be the tutorials that you watch. Right. So um, people get very, 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 very defensive if a product was thought of and released sometimes in a couple of days. I know one of the most successful ideas that I've had in terms of people performing it virally is Acme Hall, and I've seen that literally being performed by uh, Magic Singh on the side of billboards all over London. He was promoted by TikTok and he was on the side of like the giant billboards. It's performed on every bloody America's Got Talent, Britain's Got Talent show you can think of. People use it in their stage tour shows now. They do it jumbo size. I think his name's Steve O. Watson, actually builds custom jumbo size Acme halls for people because there's so many of them that do it on stage. It's on every, you go on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, any magician that does like visual card stuff, almost all of them have performed that on there. And I'm not saying this as a bragging thing. I'm saying it because I created that on a Monday and I released it through a bad magic company 2 days later because the other people on the team didn't manage to get their project work finished. So they had to have an emergency release. Mine was Acme Huddle. So I anyway, I'm just kind of really defensive when people say that you have to work on your ideas for decades or years before they come out. Everybody's brains work differently. Is it like Dolly Parton? Dolly Parton wrote, I think it was Islands in the Stream and Jolene, 2 songs in the same afternoon. I think she actually wrote a third song in another afternoon. Some of the most successful songs of all time were written and sometimes recorded in less than a day. I just find it so weird that magicians have this pedestal or this like odd thing of you can't trust a magic trick if the magician who created it hasn't worked on it for 10 years. It's like, fuck off, man. Like literally carry on going, doing your fucking twisting the aces and boring your, no offense, but boring your spectators. Like, just if that's the mentality you have, I work, I work differently. Like my brain works differently. I have to, I don't know whether it's from years of doing it or just because I've just like constantly, my head doesn't stop, but my brain chews up and spits out ideas, and for every 999,000 ideas my brain spits out, one of them will be good. But it just so happens that I have 1,000 ideas a week, and I'm saying they're all bad ideas, but my brain, it thinks fast, and that's not a good thing. It's a fast thinking brain. So I'm getting to my point. We needed oh, do I say this? Do I say this? Yes, I will say this. We at Murphy's, if you've got an effect that uses a gaff card, right, and you want it printed by Bicycle won't, unless you have like tens of thousands of dollars or whatever you want to do. Bicycle, it's kind of hard as an independent magic creator to just get a couple of thousand singular gaff cards made. But there's this like initiative that happens between like Murphy's Magic and Bicycles, that if you bring a trick to Murphy's, like, look, it needs this gimmick, and this gimmick, it can't have the angel on the card. I Bicycle wouldn't let you do that, but I want it to be on maiden backs, and it can't be an angel. I want like, I want an angel that's twirled around and twisted up. Um, Murphy's do this thing where they run gaff slots, which is they print one deck of cards, and from lots of different creators, they will say, oh, this creator needs a gaff card for this project he's working on. This one needs 3 gaff cards, and Murphy's will fill up these slots and then send a deck to be made, and then everyone gets the cards split up and sent to them, and it's just a really, really helpful thing for Magic creators. So by the way, if you do have a gaff card that needs creating en masse, then speak to Murphy's, and if they have slots available, then they can make it happen. As long as the trick is good, it can't be a crap trick. So, me and Craig wanted some gaff cards that we already have in the bag and complete it. But before we could do that, we needed to fill the remaining slots of the gaff run. And we were like, damn, we need to fill pretty much an entire deck of gaff cards, but we really want these cool couple of cards made quickly. And I think like 2 of the slots had only been filled. And we were like, damn, so either we have to wait for, if it, could take 6 months to fill those gaff slots up, or it could take 6 days. And we're like, damn, we need like basically a full deck of like 1 card that you'd use for refills. Like a gaff card that's so good you would refill it. And I can only think of a couple of tricks like that. And honestly, we had this call. Oh my gosh, did you just hear that horn outside my house? Someone just beeped their car horn. I think there's 12 people dead. Honestly, me and Craig, with the help of I'm always so cautious to say who helped and who did what, because we don't want to expose the thing. But I can say Phil Smith designed this gaff card for us. We believe we've come up with, you have certain tricks that are just like, why the fuck didn't I think of that 15 years ago? And B, like, why has this never been done before? And we keep scratching our heads thinking, why has this never been done before? And we are looking and looking and looking. And I know, like, with this Avant deck, we had the same thing, and then we found out it had been done before, at least the principle had been put out before. But we found that out in time, and we credited it and stuff. We cannot find this anywhere. And we're kind of like, what the hell? So, because we were under pressure, we created something which we think literally everybody is going to freak out over. So that was kind of like my week in a nutshell. A bit of package designs and problem solving with apps, some under pressure creativity, which led to something between me and Craig, which we think is just phenomenal. Obviously, this is the strange thing. It's so important to not be arrogant and egotistical. But it's also important to back an idea that's good, because if you don't, you let it sit on the sidelines, and then somebody else will do it, and you get annoyed by it. But you also have to try and toe that line between saying, between being like, oh, my idea is phenomenal, and then also like downplaying it so much that you don't do anything with it. And I've certainly spent so much of my life going, I don't think this idea is good enough. I don't think this idea is good enough. Prime example is on my YouTube channel. Let me see if I can show you guys a video. My videos, if I can put popular. There's which one is it? The minimal vanishing box gimmick tutorial has got over 250,000 views, right? So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see it now, called minimal vanishing box gimmick tutorial, right? And this was at a stage where I didn't back myself at all for anything. And I'd sat down, a very, very rare occasion, I sat down on a Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. and I was like, okay, it's Tutorial Tuesday, let's create the trick. And I had nothing. By like 9 o'clock, I had nothing. By like 10 o'clock, I had less than nothing. And I was literally just freaking out, telling myself I was worthless and not meant to be doing this, and just beat myself up. I was sitting there, and I had this little gimmick that I've been playing with, where the box sort of vanishes, and I was like, right, I'm going to film this for a tutorial. it sucks, but hopefully within the actions of going through the motions of creating a tutorial for this to teach, I will end up with something good, completely different, a completely different effect. But sometimes just going through that the motions of creativity, just having all of the tools around you, the camera set up in terms for me, and sometimes that can just breed creativity. So I was like, oh, okay, hopefully this will lead something. And then it got to like, it was normally I'd post a tutorial at like 3 p.m. and it got to about 6 in the evening, I think. And I was like, oh, Kale, I've got this tutorial, I got everything done, the thumbnail's ready, it's a full tutorial. I can't bring myself to post this. I hadn't thought of anything better. I was like, I've made this and it absolutely sucks. Like it's genuinely dog shit. Haley watched it. She's like, oh, you're overthinking it. I think it's all right. And I was like, nah. I was like, look, maybe it'll help someone think of something better. Like sometimes sometimes like a lot of the way I create is to show someone something, have them bounce it back and forth with me, pick it apart for me, and then I can go, okay, yes, I know why that now sucks, and this is what I would do if I was helping somebody else make it better. Or they'll just say to me, Lloyd, just what you need to do. And she's like, no, that's all right. Anyway, put it up. Long story cut short, it's got over 250,000 views. It did really, really well on my channel. And that was one of those ideas where at a time I wasn't backing myself. And so if I hadn't have put that tutorial up, that would have been lost into the proverbial notebooks. I have loads of idea books and notes written in my phone of literally thousands of ideas that I don't think are good enough. And I'm in a place at the minute where I'm trying to back what I consider bad ideas more. A prime example is the new Infinite ACAN that I put out. This ACAN last year, the year before that, I would have never even wasted my breath on it. And but now I'm starting to like think, to back myself. And I don't mean this again, I'm trying to avoid like arrogance coming out. Or I don't know what the word is, but like overconfidence. But sometimes I overthink an idea so much that actually it's okay that it's just a good idea. And then I show someone and like Craig and the people who've learnt it and they say like lovely things about it, where I don't know. So maybe that's just a lesson for all of you. If you have an idea, everyone I speak to, all my friends, and they say I've got an idea for this, and all right, but it sucks. My mantra is there's no such thing as a bad idea. Yet for the longest time, I never lived by that mantra myself. I never practiced what I preached. So maybe, yeah, that's I just wanted to. I don't know. That's what my brain is doing at the minute. That's kind of like why that vanishing salt trick that I put on YouTube, and the vanishing, the balloon that turns into AirPods. Those were ideas written down in a unpublished book called No Fucking Card Tricks, and they were bad ideas. They were like, oh, this would be cute, but I shouldn't do anything with it. And then I put them out and got like a really good response. So yeah, if you have ideas and you don't think they're good enough, maybe definitely take a second look at them. I wish I had done that a lot more throughout my past few years in magic. But here we are. The best time to have started was 20 years ago. Second best time to have started is today. So if that's one thing you take away from this tutorial, I'm watching a tutorial. If that's what you take away from this episode of the radio show, then please let that be it. Oh God, I feel so egotistical. I need to bring myself back down to earth. Anyway, magic products. That's what you're all listening for. And I'm like half an hour in, and I have gone straight past. I didn't even get to them. So I've been looking around on a couple of things, and Vanishing Ink have brought out, and I don't think this is a Vanishing Ink product, but this is a new app called Hyperamnesia by
Here, take my phone, please.
Bidor. I'm going to play it on YouTube in the background, just the video so y'all can see it. But essentially, I watched the trailer for this a while ago, so I can't fully remember the effect, but let me read this. In essence, Let me see. Hyperamnesia is a brilliantly deceptive web app that gives you the power to convince people you are a genuine memory master. It seamlessly mirrors your phone's contact list on iOS and Android, allowing you to create the incredibly authentic illusion that you've memorized every detail about every contact on your phone, all without any actual memory required. No assistance, no peaks. You don't even need an internet connection. This one-of-a-kind reputation maker lives in your pocket and is always ready to go. Here's the effect description. You let someone scroll through your contact list and randomly pick a name. You're then able to immediately recall that contact's phone number, address, birthday, email, and even specific notes like a door access code or their Wi-Fi password. This multi-phase stunner builds towards a mind-blowing finale where they type any 3 digits into the search bar of your contact list, and you flawlessly name every contact whose phone number contains that exact sequence of numbers. And the best part is that all of this is fully customizable using real contacts from your phone. You not only control what information is displayed, but also have the ability to remove or add, any discounts that you, any contacts that you want. Sorry, I'm just reading the huge discount available. It's available till today. Should I get that? I might pick that up. What is it? £36.94. Does look really good. Does look really, really good. And there's a quote there from Mark Elsden, the editor, the writer of Metabolic Fig and metabolicfig.com, my favorite subscription in all of magic. Just pointing that out there. He says if you could really memorize your entire contact list, then it wouldn't look any better than this. It's genius. Highest recommendation. The Jerks loves it. Christine Grace says, give your audience the most convincing illusion that you can memorize everything. It's like you're a real life Rain Man. Michael Murray, the genius, says, Hyperamnesia is brilliant. Super excited to explore it further and share my findings with the community, which he often does. Michael's taken a bunch of my apps and expanded on them with ideas that he shared through his own Mind Effects website too. But yeah, I remember from watching the trailer previously. I don't know why, but the trailer's not loading here. I remember from watching the trailer the first time that it legit like looks perfect. Like they scroll through, they get really open fair choice. I think they get to see that other numbers are all different, and then you can recall it and go from there. Really, really interesting. I don't know the method. I can take a swing and a miss at the method, but I don't know the method. I couldn't confirm it. But from what I could see, it looks really like what Evan's saying. It looked really convincing. There are a lot of apps out there that are just not convincing, but this one looks like it's very cleverly constructed within the routine as well. So yeah, I'm probably gonna pick this up. I'm gonna take a look at it, and the thing with me is that I don't like. We talked about this in the last episode, but I taught you that new effect for the Savant deck. But if you haven't, go and check that out, episode 3. But this is where you are apparently have the you are showing how skilled you are. So possibly for me, I would try and flip this on its head in some way where maybe I'm not just being like, oh, look how good my memory is, ha ha ha. Maybe it might just be more of okay, like pick out any contact in my list, and obviously I can't memorize them all, but maybe like read some part of their information and see if you can mentally send it over to me. And you could also incorporate the one ahead principle with that as well, too. So if you were like, okay, look, we're going to try this in 2 ways. Maybe I'm going to write down what I think your phone number is. You've never met them before, and put it down. I'm thinking of this on the spot, so it might not work. But you say, like, okay, we've never met before. I don't know anything about you. I've got 2 pieces of paper. I'm going to do this. I'm going to write down what I think is your phone number, and you put it down. And I don't know on this app if you can force a number, like if one of the numbers is forced, but if you can, in some way, shape, or form, then you say, now, for the first time, tell everyone what your phone number is. You've got to now try and memorize that. I'm pretty decent at memorizing the phone number first go around. You could probably incorporate a way of doing that as well. But just for now, you say, I'm going to write down what I believe is your mobile number. Okay, there it is, with your cell phone number down. Okay, fold it up. And then you say, okay, so for the first time, just tell everyone what your number is out loud. And you act like maybe you don't hear it. Say, now we're going to try to do something different. You're going to mentally send me a phone number. I don't know what the routine is. Because like take my phone, look through all my contacts, find someone's phone number, and look at it and stare in, and now try this. You write it down, put it there. I don't know, something like that. Either way, I think it's got a lot of potential. Very, very clever from the sounds of it. The trailer's incredibly well made as well, and it looks good. So that I'm probably gonna pick it up. Probably gonna pick that up. Next on the list that I see out is Oxbender 2 by Manny Lindenfield. I didn't have the first one, not the first one, but I hear phenomenal things from everyone, and it's one of those effects that I've been to a lot of conventions, and a lot of magicians will have the Oxbender in their pocket. And this one looks even better. It's the second version, and he puts a great uncut performance in the trailer here, where he shows you just how fast this one is, and it's all really well motivated. Basically, he has the participants sign the coin, and then he just shows them. He said, "Look, I want you to put it in your hand like this and squeeze it." And so he puts it in his hand, he squeezes the coin to demonstrate what he wants them to do, and then he takes it out of his hand and puts it into their hand to squeeze. And in that action of just the basic demonstration, fully motivated, it's bent in a split second, and it's signed. I can't emphasize to you lot how powerful a signed coin effect is, or even just a normal signed bent. I'm gonna say bent coin. Can't emphasize to you how powerful this is, but I think this is this is British coins are trickier to bend than American coins. They have a different metal inside them, so they don't bend generally as easy, but they can be done. But it shows you can do like spoons and keys and a whole bunch of other things with this. So I'm probably going to pick this up. I was so tempted to get the first one, and then I felt like I missed the boat on it. But oh, look at this! Is this an uncut live performance? He's at a DIY hardware store. What a great idea! He's got a DIY hardware store to have this effect performed. So he's taken a washer and a bolt, and is he having the bolt signed and the washer signed? This is an interesting thing. So he got a screw, a washer, and a bolt, and he bends the washer on the fucking bolt. Yo, what? I hadn't seen this part of the trailer. Yo, that's super cool. All right, okay, so this is what he did. If you can't see this, if you're listening on Spotify, he took a bolt, or like a screw, took 3 washers, had the participants sign one of them, slipped all 3 onto the screw, and then put the nut on the bolt. Put that in her hand, and when she opened her hand up, her washer was bent. And now he's doing it with a battery. And okay, this is like really, really interesting. Amazing. Yeah, look at the quotes there. Doug McKenzie, Paul Romani, Titanus, David Oliver from Genie Magazine, Javier Fumaya, Patrick Wolford, Hayne Goldberg, Ran Pink. I can't see what the last one says. Tim Trono. Yeah, like I said, this is one of those things. Genuinely, you can often tell. You can ignore all the reviews about any product in the world. Go to a magic convention, and if 3 or 4 magicians have a certain trick in their pocket, and it's older than like 2 weeks old, that's normally what the good stuff is. And it's one of those things where multiple people have had the original Oxbender in their pockets at conventions. So it's really, really good. I will say, just as a side note, my favorite ever coin bend is from Sasha Crespi. Actually, one day I want to get him on this podcast. He is living a magical life. He comes across as like a shaman, mystic magician. I've known him since he was little. He's the sweetest, nicest guy, and he's so creative, and he does the most insane magic. I say magic in the loosest terms. He creates like proper moments of wonder. There's a video of him on YouTube. He's performing at a banquet, and he literally gets the whole banquet to cause a real thunderbolt or thunderclap to strike around the castle that he's performing in. And he's like this young guy, and he's amazing. He often does like tricks that aren't just your typical tricks. He does like water to wine at like amazing events and stuff. He's just an interesting cat, and he's written a small book as well. So I'll try and get him on here one day to discuss his thoughts and approach on magic, because he's very different, very, very good. But he has the best coin bend I've ever seen. He has the best coin bend I've ever seen. Okay, next thing. 52 Prediction Pro. I don't know what this is, but it's by N2G, which they make great gimmicks, and I just thought it sounded cool, so I'm gonna just play this right here. And what is it? It's like a little playing card. It's like a tiny little miniature canvas, like a postcard sized canvas. It's got like a cartoon, Japanese cartoon of like a guy on it, and the guy and the little canvas, like the mini postcard, has got a post-it note sticker over it. I'm playing this trailer. It seems like the person has named any card, and when you peel the post-it note off, that the little cartoon character is holding any name card. I think it looks pretty cool. It's one of those tricks where the magician inside me wants to say, I'm not fooled. But the time-tested experience of being proved wrong by my audience wants to kick in and say, Lloyd, just because you went fooled doesn't mean it's not a stone cold killer. So it's super cool. One of those tricks that probably might get overlooked by the magic community, and then you'll see somebody do it on some sort of America's Got Talent or something show, and then everybody will rush out to get it because it ends up getting the golden buzzer. But yeah, pretty interesting. It's from what I can tell, what I assume to be the method, it's a very old principle built into a new sort of design, and yeah, I kind of just caught my eye as I was looking on Vanishing's homepage. Virus, I'm not even sure. Here's another one by MTG. And what is this going to be? Okay, so you have a bunch of poker chips and an envelope. All the poker chips have the same design on one side, but the back of the poker chips have a different design. They all get placed face down, and then I'm guessing the prediction is going to match inside the envelope. Looks super clean as well. Looks super clean. I have no idea what the method is from that video. Oh wait, yes I do, because now all the poker chips have become the same matching thing. That's actually don't overlook that. Don't overlook that. I'm telling you now, just because it looks kind of like not like a magic connoisseur effect, I can imagine that playing huge. I can imagine that playing massive. See, I'm thinking in my head, if I got that effect and I showed that to Katie, I actually think she would love it. By the way, I judge a lot of the magic that I do based off how I think my wife would react, because she loves magic, but she also has a good head on her shoulders for what bad magic is. I think she would actually love that. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. What else exists out there? I had the Penguin Magic website open, and oh yeah, they have this, which is the ultimate magic crash course from Penguin. This is the second time they did a magic crash course, and it's basically a free download for anyone, and they just teach you a bunch of tricks. I think this is amazing. They did this with another download of top 10 best card tricks, or the 6 best card tricks of all time. I think it had Rick Lax and Justin Flom on there, and they just taught some really clever card tricks for free as a download. Really well produced, Penguin quality production, so you know it's gonna be dope. And again, yeah, the trailer for this, I'm gonna mute it in the background here, but I'm just gonna play it for y'all to watch if you're watching on YouTube. It's got some amazing magic on there. Bill to lemon, balancing folded dollar bill, magnetic knife. I think it's got like a torn restored card trick on there. These are the type of tricks. I remember watching an interview with like Paul Harris somewhere, and he was like, all you need is 3 good tricks and you can start doing shows. But that's got like Lipstick on Hand, which is a time-tested classic. And actually, I'll come back to the Lipstick on Hand thing in just a few minutes time. Look at that, this PK straw. It's a great method for that. I don't know what method that is. I'm assuming it's the classic. This is a fantastic method for that PK straw. And what's this, like a transport effect or something? Yeah, like honestly, the book test in there. Book tests are huge. Honestly, you could probably pick up this course and not learn anything else for the rest of your life in Magic, and just start doing gigs as long as you got each trick. Oh, look at that, mirror skill. That's one of the some of the most fluid tricks ever. Yeah, a pool hall prediction as well. Like what the f, David Blaine? You could legitimately pick this up, perfect each of the tricks on this from this download, and you could literally go off and start doing gigs and doing really, really well with them. So yeah, if you haven't got this, I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna pick it. It's free. Go to Penguin. Go and pick it up. It's free. What are you waiting for? And I constantly of the mentality that I am a student. I am forever a student. And I will take the time, as much time as I can, to watch and learn and absorb anything from anyone, because I know that I don't know everything. I'm never going to know everything. And the most dangerous mental place to put yourself in is that you do. If you assume that somebody you can't learn something from someone, maybe they can't riffle shuffle or even do a good card trick, but they might show you one thing. If you assume that you know that you can't learn anything from anyone, give up. Give up, because somebody else who is not as good as you is gonna go and learn that thing that you didn't from that person, and they're gonna use that knowledge to become better than you. So if you think that you are too pro of a magician, or you've done too many gigs or whatever, and you think this is for beginners, you're an idiot. Go and watch it. It's free. You will learn something, or it will inspire something in you. Even just watching that final pool ball prediction there, I think it says in the trailer that, like, you predict the final colored ball potted in the pool game. I've thought of pool ball predictions before. I've never thought to predict the final ball that goes in on what pocket. That's amazing, and it's immediately like making me think of cool ideas to take that in a different direction with, or how to make it my own. And that's just from the trailer. So yeah, amazing, and it's free. Like, what are they playing at? What's going on here? But yeah, so super cool. And also they've just brought out Misled, or the Misled Pen by Timothy Wenk. So it's Timothy Wenk's classic pen through bill, as performed by David Copperfield. It sort of revolutionized a large chunk of magic when this came out. It set the world on fire, and ever since, people have been trying to come up with alternate versions, and this is one of the best. I had a strange interaction with Timothy Wenk, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it wasn't the best interaction, but I have a bill through pen that I've been using, that I created. I was 16, sat in a car eating a pasty in the UK. Was I 18? I think I was 16 because I was in college. Sat in the backseat of a car. I was waiting for someone to come out of the shop, and I came up with a version of pen through bill that I call Bankrupt. It's totally free on my YouTube, and go and learn it. And I've literally done it with me all my life, and it's an impromptu version of pen through bill, no gimmicks. And I shared it on my YouTube, and I got some crazy comments from Timothy Wenk on there that weren't very positive. And from memory, it was sort of like insinuating, like, why would I do anything other than Misled? And like, he has every right to be in that position or have that mindset, because you know, it's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. But my core issue with it is one that is unsolvable. With Misled, it's just that I tend to, as you guys know, I travel light. I don't really carry gimmicks on me at all. A lot of the magic that I do is completely impromptu. Just borrow a pen, borrow a bill, or use a straw. Like, you can do anything with Bankrupt, and go from there. So me having my own version was never like an attempt to say it was in any way, shape, or form superior. It's just that I find myself continually in positions where I didn't have the gimmick. So it's super strange interaction with him. However, it could have been a bad day. But look at that price, $29.95, with a normal looking black pen as opposed to the yellow pencil. How can I not pick this up? How can I not pick this up and get it? So it's gonna be a very expensive week for me this week in Magic. Some really great things coming out, and some of them may have slipped under the radar. But I wanted to go back to something. There's been some interesting stuff happening in the Magic app world, but I'm going to forget this if I don't talk about it now. And it's just a comment that was left on one of my on the last episode of the of the 108.9 Trapdoor Radio. And let me see where that oh, by the way, there's been one or two complaints about my language on here, and this is why do you have to keep swearing? It sounds awful. It makes you sound immature and uncouth. I am who I am. I've said multiple times. Apologies for the bad language. It's 2025. In my tutorials and the stuff that I know can reach a wider audience, I do my best almost in every single one of them. There's no foul language on there. However, in my normal day-to-day life, this is how I talk. How I was raised, unfortunately or fortunately. Apparently, you have a higher intelligence level if you swear more, if you cuss more, as proven by some university or something. I'm not smart enough to know what university it is, but I like to throw that fact out. And it is a fact, apparently, when people say I swear too much. So it makes me fucking smart, but I just sound fucking stupid. I apologize. I do apologize. I can't help myself. So it's not. So I'm going to come to Fredo's question at the end for readers' questions. But maybe it was on episode 2 of the podcast. But I've got it screenshotted on my notes, so you guys can't see this. But I'll read it out to you. And basically, what it says is, or maybe I can put this on screen. Can I put this on screen? Can I drag and drop here? Can I? Oh yes. All right, here we go. The comment says, "I'll never forget." Okay, so going back to the lipstick on the hand, right? Saying that all of you, not all of you, a lot of you might assume that you are too good to do that, and or that that you are too good possibly to learn from that free penguin tutorial because it might be aimed at beginners. But let me read this comment to you because this was something I addressed directly almost in my first episode, which was like, Lloyd, I gotta sort of start remembering to make my magic good. And someone says this. So this is from Michael Moon 2709. Effect over ego. Great. Or maybe he commented that on the first episode. That's why it was there. But he says, "I'll never forget having been into card magic for 7 years. One night showing a bunch of friends of the family about 3 or 4 of my best card effects. I did Ambitious, fantastic. I did the Biddle Trick, phenomenal trick. Invisible Palm Aces and the like. So clearly, those are time-tested killers, right? My brother, who had started doing card magic with me in the beginning, had fallen away from it. They asked him to do an effect, and he started doing ashes through hand because they were smoking in the back garden. As soon as he got started, I realized that he had been set up for this, and to myself thought, oh, that's cute. Even though I got great reactions from my card work, but he did in that moment completely blew them away, and I was stunned to see their reaction because he was ready and I anticipated that they'd ask. Because he was ready and had anticipated the ask, or that they ask, he created a completely organic looking magical moment from nowhere. They literally said, man, those card tricks were good, but that was absolutely amazing. I've never overlooked that trick from that day forward. Effect over ego. And that is all you need to know. That's all you need to know. That's it. That is it, right? Well, I spoke about in episode 1 where I'd gone down this path of trying to make these profound magical. The last year or so, I've been really deep down the rabbit hole of trying to focus on making these these ontological type shock moments where people are like, oh my God, is this real? And it's these really profound, whimsical things. And I love that type of magic. But there is a time and a place for it. And often those moments come, those opportunities to perform that type of magic come once every year or two when you're sat down at just the right place at just the right time with just the right person who's willing to believe and wanting to believe. Those moments can occur. But for the average person in their day-to-day life who you just want to share some magic and make it fucking fun, this is it, right? This is it. You can. And I believe as well, someone tell me I'm wrong, but I'm sure I spoke about in the first episode that there's only so many card tricks you should be doing in your set. If all you're doing is card tricks, then you need to change it up because at the end of the day, they walk away mixing them all into one. So if you've done 20 card tricks, you may have just as well done one good card tricks because it kind of gets a bit bleh, and it all sort of Gaussian blurs into each other. But this sort of summarizes the point or emphasizes the point even better. And this is I always talk about this as well. It's always so much better to have something. Take your time, like I said in episode 2 or episode 1, like Max Malini would say, wait the week, prepare something, have it ready to go, so that when they ask you to do magic, the first thing you say is, "Oh no, sorry, I'm not up for it. I don't have anything. I'm not showing magic tonight." Make them ask you twice. Make them ask you a third time, and when you finally give in, you whip out something which you actually been planning on doing. You took the time to build it, prepare it, seal it, whatever it's going to be, load the ashes on the palm, anything you want. But when it finally comes crunch time to do a trick like that, that's the one they're going to remember because it seems spontaneous, it seems organic, it's going to blow them the fuck away. And with no offense to the card trick, because Michael is saying it there himself. Good name, my second son's name. Saying it there themselves. They say the card tricks were good, but did you fucking see that? And I have had those moments happen to me, and they sort of come around cyclically in my life where I've been on a binge and I go out and I just do the same couple of card tricks, and then on the offhand I'll throw in one random thing that I'm just like I've run out of card tricks to show, and everyone remembers the one thing, and and also it's that stuff which is magical. That's why with that chip effect that I saw earlier by N2G, I was like, oh, Katie would love that. It's different. It's interesting objects. It's not your typical card trick. That's why coin bends are so good because they're just odd and you can't forget it, and it's something you can keep with them. And it's like effect over ego, right? It's effect over ego, and it's remembering to. And the point was that it's remembering to not show them magic that you like, because it's so easy for us to get so caught up in deep thought about what we think makes a good trick, because it doesn't matter what we think makes a good trick. And I've spoken about this so many times, it makes me sick. It only matters to the audience what they think is a good trick. It's kind of like it's why magic is so individual in a way, because it, it's a tricky one, right? Because like the audiences, they do and they can and they cannot tell a good magician. For example, anyone can tell a bad juggler is going to drop everything. Everyone can tell a bad comedian because they don't make you laugh. Everyone can tell a bad singer because it hurts your ears. Oh, is that a tune, right? But magicians are individual. They're unique in that I've seen some of the best magicians in the world. I mean, the gods of sleight of hand, the gods of creative thinking, intelligent design. Literally people that I could spend the next 60 years of my life trying to get as good at, and I wouldn't even get my first foot on the ladder. I have seen magicians like that perform to audiences and die time and time and time and time and time again. They just die on their ass. Not all of them, but so many of them, because they've gone so far down the rabbit hole with perfecting the stuff which isn't as important as they think it is, that they lose sight of what really is important. And that is the audience. And it's pretty much the only thing that's important. Like it's important to have proficient sleight of hand. It's important to make sure your methods are covered and you are well versed, and that you take certain things into consideration, and try to be better than the guy before you, try to be better than you 6 months ago. But there comes a point where so many magicians just cannot pull themselves back from the deep, and they become, I don't know, like I've caught myself doing it. I've caught myself just becoming so entrenched in the theory behind the double lift and the classic palm. And you double lift, and when you do the double lift, it's so important that you move the card away from the deck and drop the deck to the side and let it stay there for a few seconds, because now in their head those two items have now been isolated for a period of time, and they peripherally forget that the card was ever touching the deck before it changed, and it's like, oh my fucking god, just put it in the spectator's hands and shut up, sort of thing. Don't get me wrong, it's important, and we need those thinkers. I try and think deeply about magic. I often fail. And I like to read and listen and watch the work of those who think deeply about magic. It's just important to put effect over ego. Like this guy saying, for all we know, Michael could be, it could be a username. It could be, I don't know. I'm not going to throw any names under the bus here, but for all we know, that could be the best card technician in the world. He could be a FISM winner. It could be a pseudonym that he's using online. He could be a FISM winner, and he's gone to a dinner party and shown people magic tricks with cards. And then average Joe off the street or his brother who doesn't even do it anymore, just as ashes on palm and blows everyone the fuck away. And that's the unique thing about magic, is that, and I think the only other place where you kind of sometimes see this is in poker, and they call them a fish, is when you have a beginner can sometimes beat a pro in poker because they don't play to the rhythm of a standard poker player. They do odd things because they don't really understand what they're doing, and that throws the game off of the pros. And ironically, it uses playing cards, but it's not magic related. It's kind of the same thing in magic, where almost any other art form, you can tell a bad painter, you can tell a bad singer, bad musician, you can tell a bad comedian. Like, you can't tell them, they tell you because they don't make you feel anything. But a magician is subjective, and really the only opinion that matters is not from your peers, but it's from your people, it's from your audience. And so yeah, maybe effect. I asked for a mantra that I could tattoo on my arm, and I'm not political in any sense. I'm British, so I don't even know what's happening in American politics. But the phrase that kept coming to my head was "make magic great again." Don't think it has the right ring to it. Michael has said effect over ego, and it's remember to drop ego at the door. Maybe that's what I go for. Maybe that's my tattoo on my arm. Effect over ego. Good thinking. I kind of like it. I kind of like it. Watch this space. But yes, I want to go on to that and then quickly talk about what's been happening with Inject and Greg Rastami. And fair play to Greg, man. He is a gentleman, and he's handled this in, I'm not sure if it's the way that I would personally handle it, but he's handled it in such a commendable way. To me and Greg actually had, I don't think the run-in's the right word. Me and Greg, this is, well, shows how dope of a person Greg is. I created an app kind of thing. I shared it on my YouTube channel maybe a month or two ago, and it turns out Greg had, I didn't know, but Greg had released it, I want to say 10, 11 years ago. And some people who don't understand the right way of doing things, who don't have integrity or sort of morals, would have handled this differently. But Greg didn't make a big scene or a public thing or call me out and try and shun me for something I didn't know existed. He contacted Craig, because I'm so unavailable, because I'm such a hermit. He contacted Craig. I was like, "Yo, Craig, oh my God." I don't think he spoke like that. He contacted Craig. Craig, Lloyd's put up a tutorial. It was an old thing. It's not on sale anymore, but I did put it out 10 years ago. And sure enough, it was pretty much identical. So I immediately took it offline. I emailed Greg. I was like, "Dude, I am so A, sorry, B, absolutely mortified. I didn't know about it. I'm super sorry, dude." And yeah, you just sound. He's like, "Yeah, like, thank you so much, and I appreciate it." It's happened to me a million times. It's gonna happen to Greg a million times. That's the way of magic. Like, you can't know everything that come out. You can't. It's even harder to find out about things that existed 10 years ago that don't exist now as well, because like it's not on sale anymore. But that's how things should be handled, and it happens behind the scenes 3 or 4 times a week, especially if you create a lot of magic. And that's kind of the way to do it. You reach out, he's like, "Dude, oh man, it just so happens that I put this out here. It's not available no more, but it did exist at some point." And then you guys figure out between you what you want to do. And in this case, I took it down. And it's one of those situations, like, I don't know, it breeds more respect, and it's the way to do things. And even though it kind of sucked for, especially for Greg, because I taught something that he had out, uh, in a strange way, it like makes you tighter with that person as well, because you can see that uh, an innocent mistake did not lead to all out war. It was just cool, and that's the way it should be done. However, unfortunately for Greg, something fairly sinister has happened to him here, and my heart goes out to him, and I think everyone needs to support Greg on this more than ever. Basically, Inject inject. I don't even need to tell you what inject is. But it's one of the most widely known and used apps in all of Magic, and it has been for 10 years, I want to say. In a nutshell, it gives you the ability to use anyone's phone to peek, right? So in the most basic form of inject, there's a bunch of different variations within it and the tricks within it. You could say to someone, it's basically it's replaced for most magicians around the world. It's replaced billet peaks, right? And which we all know is some of the most powerful magic you can do and mentalism you can do. But in a nutshell, you say to someone, search for something, and you give them a reason why they should be searching for it. Like, search for the definition of this word, or search for anything. Search for the celebrity's birthday, whatever you want to do. Search for a piece of information, search it on your phone. I don't want to see it. And then you can reveal what they searched for. And it's literally the modern billet. That's what inject is. It's a Goliath. It's Greg's, released 10 years ago. It has an entire community. It has the whole industry behind it. And the I can't expose the method, but basically, Google does not like the way that it works, because it has to take advantage of some method, some things that are going on behind the scenes. So, every now and then, sporadically, and not very often, I must add, but lately, the Google have sort of stopped inject, or try to stop inject from working. It's kind of like a game of checkers where if, or whack-a-mole, like Google will try and do this, and then like Greg comes up with a new idea to do that, boom, 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 and they're back and forth tussling, and then but some people are upset and annoyed, and understandably so. And it's through no fault of Greg's, but understandably so, because they bought it and they want to use it, and without really, I can't speak for people where their heads at, but in some people's minds, like, look, I've paid for this, it should work. And I think I think with apps especially, there's always a caveat, which is like, we are not Apple, we are not Android or Google. These apps are built by generally like one person or a tiny team of magicians or people that have an interest in app development, and they don't have millions of dollars of backing behind them. It's often a small budget, and people do it in their spare time as like a labor of love. And all I'm saying is that, like, personally, if I get an app and there's bugs in it, and it's a magic app, I'm all right with that, as long as they're working on them and fixing them, and they're showing willing. It doesn't matter if it takes a couple of weeks or even a month, because we are, even though we're an industry, I kind of just see it as like we're all like independent artists. And you go to a craft fair, and you see people making little cutout cool silhouettes and imagery and artwork and drawings and things. You wouldn't buy something from them, and if it had a little imperfection in it, go kicking off. And it's like, this stuff is kind of like, and it's all really well made, but I just don't put the same. If I bought an app from Apple for $300, like Final Cut Pro is $300. If I bought that from Apple and it had a major bug in it that made it so I couldn't use it, I'd be contacting the customer services. I'd be kicking off. I'd be leaving negative reviews or doing what I could to get my money back. When it comes to these small independent apps, I give them a lot of leeway. I know not everyone's the same. A lot of people go ape shit, and and that's like, I read a good piece of advice, or I listened to a good piece of advice, which was 5% of all customers forever will complain. No matter what your product is or how good it is, you will always have 5% of people that complain. And that's kind of true. That is just unfortunately true. And it's, once you understand that as somebody, especially as somebody who puts stuff out there into the world, then you can kind of get on board with it a little bit. I'm just trying to look for a screenshot as I do this. But anyway, so that happened, and instead of some person, I don't know who this person is, right? I think they go by the name of Boo. I want to say, I don't want to drop anyone's name in it. It's not them. I think the name's Goo. Instead of them sort of being understanding, they just made it. They just built their own inject. Totally stole it. Totally ripped it off, and then started selling it for $300, which is like 3 and a bit times the price of inject. And there's big debate. I mean, heated debate, very, very much on the side of Greg, and obviously by saying like, because from what I can gather, and I haven't followed it too much, but from what I can gather is that this person's the person that's made their own version, his argument or their argument is that well, I bought a product, it doesn't work, therefore I'm going to provide a product that does work. Kind of like, if you're not going to do it, then I am kind of attitude, which is maybe if it was another industry, maybe if it was like, hey, I have a shop on this street and we sell ham sandwiches and they do really well, and for some reason they get closed down by the local authorities. And that building's empty. So someone else comes along and said, well, that ham sandwich business is doing well. They're not there anymore. I'm going to sell those ham sandwiches and I ain't getting closed down. And for some reason it works, right? And they get allowed to do it. In that situation, ham sandwiches are kind of like universal. And, as long as they don't steal the name and any unique concept they have, if they just sell sandwiches, then you'd be like, well, it's I don't know, it's understandable, right? I'm sure someone's gonna come along and say, fuck that, you totally, whatever. But in that situation, it's understandable. But Magic is not that situation. We have an honor code in Magic, and that's why we tend to not patent our ideas. And that's a whole nother argument there, a whole nother world of controversy, that, for another day. But it's why we don't tend to patent our ideas, and in a way we sort of can't. And there's an honor system in Magic, which is that, like, if you're the person that creates it, oftentimes, unless there's something deceptive, that the sort of rule of thumb is first to market. If it's your idea and you're first to market, you kind of, everyone in the community backs that person and sort of acknowledges this is theirs and nobody else should rip it off. Even if there are issues or faults or problems beyond the control, that's just the right thing to do. But some people don't care about that. And anyway, so this has been going on back and forth for the past couple of weeks between Greg and the rip-off version of Inject. And sadly, there are some people that back the rip-off version, and in a sense, and I don't think there's much sense in it, at least from my point of view, but from some people's point of view, is that, like, look, they use Inject every day at every gig. They need to have something that works. They don't get involved in the politics of it all. They just want to do it. And I can see their point of view. Like, if I'm trying to really put myself in their shoes. Like let's say, for example, that this, I have this cup that says the man. I don't know why it says the man on it, apart from maybe the man of the house. But maybe this cup that says the man is it's the final reveal for my show, and it's very particular because I've got something that it sits in that's molded and it has to be exactly this, or for whatever reason, right? But this mug that I'm holding that says the man on it, that has my cup of tea in it, this is the main thing for my show. And for some reason this smashes before my big important performance in front of I don't know, some A-list celebrities or someone that I actually care about. So this company, I've been buying these mugs from this person that makes them, and I really, really need it, and I've smashed it. And the only one that's available is one from a knockoff brand, a knockoff company that saw them and tried to just capitalize on them being out of stock for the next 6 months. Would I, in my time of need, buy the knockoff? And I'm really sitting here trying to play this scenario out for real. Would I buy the knockoff to save an important show? I would do one of two things. Knowing me, I would change up the ending, I think, and I would probably try to use it. I would change it up like, oh, these are the broken shards of glass that did something, and then I would create a different effect. But not everyone's a creator, I understand, and not everyone does what I do for a living. I would in a tight squeeze, and I'm really looking here. I'm really trying to play both sides of the argument, but in a tight squeeze, in a bind, I would potentially reach out to Greg, and I would say, Greg, I absolutely need this for this killer important performance. I will always support you, and I will not support them publicly, but for now, I have to use this alternative. Or can you find a way to do something? I don't know. Do you know what? Like, I can't do that. I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to do it, no matter how desperate I was. I don't think I could do it. I couldn't. But it's a tough one. Anyway, gets worse. The plot thickens. Greg gets his version back online. Gets inject back online. Yay, the world rejoices. And now this is what I think has been going on. I'm pretty sure this is the scenario. I could be wrong, but Greg posted a long video explaining this without naming names. But other people have shared what happened. The person who ripped off Inject rightfully got booted from the Inject group, even though they paid for it originally. And they said, hey, why am I not in the Inject group? And well, look, this is the screenshot that was shared. Now, this was shared publicly. This wasn't sent to me privately. This is on Facebook. I don't know if I'm more than a lighter here for my candles. I don't know if this was supposed to have been shared or not. This was on a public page. So this is a screenshot of a conversation, and you can see on my screen. Let me just hide this Trapped Radio logo for a second. Between Greg and a certain person. And he says, hi, I can't access the Inject users group. Greg replies with a wink. And then the person says, that's okay. That's not okay. I'm your customer and I paid full price. Are you iOS or Android? iOS, what does it matter? Ask Apple for a refund. Use Goo, which is the knockoff version of Inject. And I think Greg's within his rights to say that. If somebody has got the rip-off version, they kind of like breaking that, and that if it is the creator of the knockoff version, then they've completely broken the moral code, and they should be booted. And Greg's telling him to get a refund. It's not like he's holding their money hostage. The money is held by the app stores. Greg's saying get a refund. Basically not welcome here, and I think that's okay. And or if it's somebody who's bought and supported the knockoff version, I think Greg's still within his rights to tell them to get a refund and basically say you're not welcome. Yeah, trick. Either way, that person comes back and says, "Fine, let's play." And this is where it gets sinister. And Greg sends back a love heart, and that person then, from what it seems like from Greg's video message, that person then went and got Inject taken down by Google. So there's it's not very difficult to do, but basically kind of snitching in the most basic sense is what you do, and then it will be removed by Google. That person said, let's play. And then for the thousands and thousands and thousands of Inject users, then went and fucked it up for everyone because they weren't welcome in the Inject group. And that's what Greg's been facing. I don't know the person's name. The word Goo is the name of the rip-off product. I'm guessing it's short for Google. But that's kind of the drama and the controversy that's been going on with this. And it's kind of crazy. It's kind of boring. I really feel for Greg here because I don't know if Inject is back up and running or not. It's been going up and down. I think it's kind of like under attack. But yeah, put yourself in Greg's shoes, and and try to think like how you would feel if you put like a decade of your life into perfecting something which is so widely used by so many thousands of magicians across the world, only to have like a moment of despair when something's gone awry with it. Someone comes in, tries to take all your hard work, charge 3 times the price for it, and then when they get called out and told kick rocks, uh, to then have that person actively go and start to destroy what you've built, that is fucking crazy. Crazy. And yeah, so what I would say is go and support Greg. Go and support Greg. I know all his other apps are working. Go and pick up Real List. Go and check that out. Real List is that on its own is another amazing thing you could build a career off. You could start a religion using. You could start a cult using Real List. But yeah, if you could empathize, if you could see the craziness of this, then go and support Greg in some way, help him, and hopefully like any extra sales and stuff he does with his other apps or any more people on board will help to bolster the back end support for Inject and get it back up to greatness where it used to be. Probably still is. Knowing Greg, it's probably already fixed and back up and running. But I just think, yeah, I feel like I should just draw awareness to this situation. I feel like it's as a creator, you kind of have to back your fellow creators. A rising tide raises all ships. It's like we're only. I know a lot of us pay our bills doing this stuff, but none of us are gonna become multi-millionaires. None of us are gonna be or want to be A-list celebrities. We're mainly only in this because we just fucking love magic. I've known Greg for years. He is the sweetest, most enthusiastic, highly intelligent and creative person I've ever met, and always down to give his time to people and help and get on board. And I just see him as somebody who's just very much like me, passionate about magic, passionate about creating new things, and to have someone just like actively go and try and destroy his work is just, I can't understand it. And I just think that we should all try and do something to help, even if that's just saying, yo, we hear you, we are listening, we got your back, we support you. Sometimes that's all you need. Like I've been in many situations in the past. For some reason, I'm like a drama magnet. But I've been there in the past with controversies where I've been the forefront of it, and sometimes just having those people that you respect come up to you and say, "Yo, I'm following the controversy. It's fucking crazy. Just so you know, I'm in your corner, and you're not doing anything wrong. It's all you need to hear to keep fighting the good fight." So yeah, man. Just shout out to Gregor Salmi, and I think it's just a shit situation for him to be in, and my heart goes out. So, with that, I wanna go into a couple of listeners' questions again. As always, if you haven't done so, by the way, so far, if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I keep forgetting to say this. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever platform you're on, hit the follow button. Hit the notification bell, and it'd be good to hear you back and see you back every single week. But as always, listeners' questions. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, drop them in the comment section on Spotify, or email them, as somebody has already, to hello@lloyd.tv with the subject line Trapdoor Radio, and I will answer your question. So I have a couple of questions here. There's one from Magic Man, which came in on my Patreon, which says, what is your process of making a trick? Do you have a lot of tricks that you think of and design, then you realize they don't work, or are red, or are easy to catch and you have to scrap them? I feel like I can answer this at another point, but I also feel like I kind of answered it earlier by saying that like I have 1,000 ideas and then keep one. Sometimes I'm asked to do something, or sometimes it's a necessity, like we need to fill a card run. So it kind of comes from there. But I'll go into that at a later date. I do feel like I've covered that in this episode, though. The next message from David Noshe that says, again on Patreon, if you're still taking questions, I've been doing magic for 60 years. Love all that you do. Time for an old dog to learn a new trick. In episode 2, you referenced 3 phases for Crazy Man's handcuffs. Phase 3, you said, has one of the bands melt or disappear in their on their hands and you end clean. Would love more info or a point in the right direction of how to learn that phase. Do you know, I could show it here, but I'd actually love, I think if I showed you it on here just to myself in this room, I don't think it would give you the confidence to go and do it. I need to go and get a live performance of it. I do have some, and I've put it in a video compilation somewhere online. Um, but what I'll do is I'll go out and perform it. I'll get the reactions, and then I'll teach it, and it'll be either just for Patreon users because that was posted in Patreon, or it'll be on my main channel. But if I described it, it's one of those tricks. If I describe the exact handling, you'd be like, it'll never work. When you see it, you'll go, that's the only way I'm ever going to do it. So I appreciate that question. I've ordered, I went on that KYD on Instagram, that guy that buys every product off like Temu and stuff, and he tests them and if they're and shows if they're trash or gold. I like organic performances. I hate the concept of walking up to people with a DSLR camera and forcing magic on them. But like sort of magic being recorded stealthily, I think is cool, or can work for my style because it means I don't have to approach people. I can just be in the moment. I say that because I've ordered sunglasses that have a recorder in them. It's the perfect thing to record this trick because it happens at eye level. I'll probably use those to do the effect, record it. I'll obviously get the permission from whoever I perform it to afterwards. Say, oh, these are my recording glasses. Can I show you something cool? Then I can go around and teach the entire thing. So keep your eyes peeled. And yeah, it'd be the perfect opportunity for me to bust out the new recording equipment. Okay. Next question is from Tam McLaughlin. I hope I'm saying that correct. I was at a magic show recently and one of the performers got everyone to get their calculators out and predict a number. I sort of knew what was coming and saw the date, but when he also predicted the time, I was blown away. It really was a moment where I felt like a layperson again and had no idea what just happened. I loved it. I now know, or I no think it was the Apple Toxic app. I use Android and below Cypher Pro does the same thing. Is this accurate, or is there a better Android app that can predict the time/date? So I created with Will Jones the very first calculator app that did the toxic forcing and the inputs and numbers, and there's been many versions since. I think close to the same time, but after there was iThump was released. And I think still, I'm not sure if I'm wrong. iThump is now better than Cypher ever was, and I still think, and I think it has many more features. I still think that's the case these days. After I quit Cypher, it was their propriety, and I have no idea what they've done with it. I just know that iThump is the one that everyone uses by Ian Pigeon. So yeah, you've come to the right place to ask about the history of it, at least. Like Cypher by me and Will Jones, we created it. It was the first. But as far as which one is on the market now and is it for Android, I think it's called iThump, and it's by Ian Pigeon. I think it's Android. I might be wrong. I would be surprised if it wasn't Android. And that has the date time prediction and a bunch of other things in there as well. It was released maybe like a month after Cypher Pro. I do think he was working on it at a similar time as well. So it's been around for years also, which tells you that it's like being kept. I'm pretty sure it's like the most like kept up to date version of all the calculator apps that are out there. So iThump by Ian Pigeon. I think it's on Android. I could be wrong. There's also versions by Mark Lemon, but they're impromptu versions, I think. I'm not sure if they do the time. I do have a copy of it somewhere, but I'll have to dig it out. So you could look up into the work of Mark Lemon as well, because that might help you too. But yeah, the answer to your question, I believe, is going to be iThump by Ian Pigeon. Then I had a comment on YouTube from and I want to say shout out to this listener as well, Fredo, the wheelchair guy. I keep reading his comments. It keeps inspiring me to make these, because he always like leaves like really positive comments saying how much he likes this radio show. Because yeah, I mean, obviously these radio episodes don't get the tens and hundreds and millions and thousands of views that the tutorials get. This is a much more nuanced show, and so they don't get as many views. And Fredo seems to be one of our loyal listeners, and massive shout out for always leaving a comment that keeps me motivated to do these. But he says 4 days ago, "Hey Lloyd, let me see if you can see it on screen. Yes, you can. So Fredo says, "Hey Lloyd, I just wanted to say that I'm a huge fan of your podcast, and it's been a massive source of inspiration as I've started diving deeper into performing magic. I had a question I'd love for you to cover in a future episode, or feel free to reply here if it's easier." I'm replying in a future episode, my friend. "I'm a wheelchair user and recently started performing magic with people, which has been both exciting and nerve-wracking. One thing I've been finding tricky is that so many bars and hotel lounges have tall tables with bar stools. I feel on that. And being seated so low makes it hard to engage people naturally or even get their attention. When I first got into magic, I didn't anticipate how physically limiting some environments might feel. And I'd love to hear if you have any advice, either either practical tips for those situations or mindset shifts that might help. You've got such a creative brain for thinking outside the box, and I'd really appreciate your take." Okay, cool. So that's an amazing question. Such a brilliant question. It's good. It's good for many different reasons, but it also gets one of the reasons I like it is that it gets my brain thinking differently. So it's almost like the first thing that comes to my head is to bring the mountain to Moses, in a sense that I've spoken about this before. I have magic for every environment, or I try to have magic for every environment and for every type of person. So, for example, if I'm speaking to somebody and they are fascinated by maths, right? Maybe they're a mathematician. I have a couple of cool math tricks. Depending on the person, maybe I would show them number-based stuff because it interests them, right? Is what I'm saying. If I've got somebody who I can see has maybe I'm saying it's just that I can think of people like this that I know, but maybe they have like esoteric tattoos. This girl has like their star sign tattooed on them. Well, then there's a good chance they may be into astrology and the zodiac and stuff like that, right? So I would do some mind reading involving revealing their star signs and more like mysticism, spiritualism type stuff. If I'm at a bar and there's a gang of lads there drinking their beers and it's loud, I'd potentially consider doing something that's gonna be fast and snappy and eye-catching. I don't carry flash paper, but something that that their slightly drunk minds might be able to follow a lot easier than doing a out of this world on the table that takes 10 minutes that they're gonna lose interest in. And in a position where you're seated and people are standing above you, then in those situations, I would probably the first thing I would consider, because I love all magic, right? I think there's so many all magic and all mentalism is. I mean, as you know, I kind of explore a bit of everything. I would start off probably by doing some mentalism, right? Because you don't need to have essentially any visuals there, and it doesn't. There's nothing that's going to be angle sensitive, and nothing that you necessarily need any sort of level physical playing field to be on, in terms of like with French Kiss by Wayne Houchin, for example. Obviously don't do the kiss version, but if you stand up and touch palms together, then you couldn't do that if one of you seated, one of you stood. But if it was a basic name place reveal or a one ahead effect, then then you don't need to. Then it doesn't really matter what you're doing. But you can still create an incredible moment of magic. So I'd probably at least start off by doing some mentalism and establish yourself as, hey, stop what you're doing for a second. This is amazing. Like, this isn't just your next 21 card, because everyone sees tricks, right? And when someone says at a bar, especially at a loud bar, "Oh, do you want to see a trick?" Most people expect you to bust out the 21 card trick or a basic key card trick, which everyone's seen. So as soon as you start doing one snappy, fast-paced effect that catches everyone's attention, well, suddenly, now people are listening. Now you can start to have a bit of basic audience control. And So I would start off with something like that, right? I would absolutely look into, if you don't already, getting a mem deck and start putting the magic into their hands. So one of the tricks that I always do, pretty much every single time I perform, is I'll always have a deck in the moniker. And one of the things I will do is give the audience that deck, and I'll say either cut and complete it under the table or behind your back, and take either the top or bottom card and bring me the deck back. So basically just getting a peek because of the stack. Almost all the magic I do these days really is kind of hands off. And the reason I'm bringing this up here is because in this situation, again, doesn't matter your setup, because they can go into the next room and do this. You can say, look, take this deck, go into the next room, put the cards behind your back, take one, bring the cards back, we'll put them in the box. And again, it's removing that like physicality barrier. It's removing that like height differential. It's removing anything really. And in fact, you can now start to do something which I think is maybe you could actually use this to your advantage. I think it's Rory Adams has a great online blog called One Ahead, and he made a blog post on there not so long ago, or maybe last year, about how to make your tricks bigger. And one of the examples he gives is to do a basic 2-card transposition. But instead of, where's my deck of cards? So a 2-card transpo, use a dupe, right? So get a duplicate playing card of any card, or do another method, but essentially place, you say, look, I'm going to take this card, you're going to hold on to this card, and you can do that. I think you should be able to comfortably do that from a seated position. So say, look, and in fact, you could do this. You could say, because they're looking from your sort of like an eagle eye view. I suppose if I'm thinking from like this worm's eye view, and eagle eye view is what we talk about in videography. Then you could even do this, right? You could say, I'm going to take this card, your card, the one you selected, sign it. I'm going to drop it on the floor, and I want you to stand on it, right? Which actually, I just went and saw Michael Lamar lecture at Bristol, Smoke and Mirrors in Bristol, Mark Bennett's amazing magic bar in the UK. And one of the effects he does is a 2-card transpo, but he does it in their hand. So he puts one card under their foot and one card they have held up high. Well, using them standing on a card, plus Rory's thinking, you could say, I'm going to take this card, when you sign your name on it, I'm going to drop it on the floor here, and I want you to place your foot on it. And now you can show your card, and say air quotes, your card. Say, I'm going to take my card, and I'm going to go, and you can wheel yourself back all the way to the other side of the room, and actually make it sort of part of the story as to how impossible this is, right? So instead of worrying about like the height, you're now creating distance. And now you say, so look, I have my card, and you're standing on your card, and I'm all the way over here, right? And now do the double lift, change it, and bring it back. Even still, even if you don't want to create that distance and you just want to keep it there, having people stand on playing cards or place their feet on playing cards, for example, instead of holding it, is something that a lot of magicians just do day to day. And the reason I think you could start to do that is because suddenly you're gonna what I'm saying is, the point that I'm getting to is that you could sort of slowly manipulate the situation to bring them to a viewing perspective that's more accommodating for you. So you start off with mentalism that requires no angles, no sleight of hand. Then you start to create contact by giving them the deck, right? Now they do this behind their back. Now you bring an effect down to the ground level and you drop a card on the floor. Suddenly people are coming in, they're paying more attention to you, their shoulders are starting to huddle, and now you don't hear. Well, at this point, they're sort of eating at the palm of your hand. And I definitely, and I do this a lot, but at this point, I would do Crazy Man. I talk about it all the time, but I would do Crazy Man's handcuffs because, and I have some rubber bands here, because Crazy Man's handcuffs does not rely, like, for example, if you were stood and they were seated, you couldn't do 2-card Monty because they could see under the cards, right? That's why I see some magicians doing it on stage where their audience is beneath them and it kind of goes wrong. That trick requires you to be on a level pitch. But with something like Crazy Man's handcuffs, and I've got on screen, if you're watching on YouTube, I've got the bands here, you can do this at eye level. You can do this with one hand above because it doesn't rely on anything else other than the sleight. So if you've practiced Crazy Man's handcuff, if you're seated, and I've done it seated to somebody standing. If you're seated and they're standing, it's exactly the same trick. And then if you want to, you can then start to slowly incorporate or quite boldly say, actually, bring yourselves down here. I want to show you something amazing. And then if they're able to, if they're willing to, they can then come down to your level, and then you can do something at head height, or Crazy Man's at head height. But yeah, that's kind of what my thinking is on it. I'd like to know what thoughts you have on it. Uh, Immediately, for example, there are certain tricks that I only do standing. I primarily only do coin magic standing. But I think, who is there? There is, I want to say Greg Wilson. I might be wrong, but look, maybe look it up. There are some people that do shadow coins on their legs, right? Quite often, it's one of the more interesting ways to present it. So instead of doing it on a table, it might be an On the Loose DVD by Greg Wilson, or it might be by Plonter the Smith. But one of the versions he has is a seated version. He places the 3 coins on one leg, he waves his hands over, and 1 coin jumps over. Does it again, 1 coin jumps over. Does it again, 1 coin jumps over. Amazing. So you could take advantage of something like that. You could also start to think about tricks that require people to be standing above you for them to work. And a perfect example is Lincoln Cigarettes by Akira Fuji, which is you take 2 cigarettes, or you can use other objects like 2 short straws or toothpicks. And that trick, basically, the best angle is to have somebody stood up, looking down over your shoulder. So if you're seated and they're standing, you couldn't do that trick better if you were stood up on a level playing field with them. So you could say, look, I'm going to take these, actually get yourself the view that the magicians only see, and then do the Lincoln cigarettes, and they visually, and like in slow motion, visually link and unlink, and they go through your thumb, and an amazing piece of magic. The same goes with Crazy Man's handcuffs. That is a 360-degree trick and works from every angle all around. So that's kind of like just off the top of the head thinking that I would do on it. Start off with some mentalism, establish yourself a little bit, then start to incorporate some things that instead of trying to think, and not that you do, but instead of trying to think, like, I want to do this trick this way, start to think, how can I actually use this to my advantage? Have people standing on cars, have people looking over your shoulder, do the tricks that only work best from that angle, and go from there. I'll keep racking my brain. I'll try and think of another great one is Liquid Band by Vinnie Marini, and also Vince Mendoza, I want to say. If you're on YouTube right now, I can show it. But it's a super visual unlinking of a rubber band on a straw or a pen. So, but again, it works really well from over the shoulder. So you can see on my fingers there, I've got a rubber band. I'm going to place a Sharpie in between the 2 strands of the band. The band is wrapped between my index finger and my thumb. Okay, so the band is, and I've placed a Sharpie right through the middle, and you get a great view as it visually melts through. Okay, and you can do that in reverse as well. So again, I'll place the band between my index finger and thumb. You should be able to see it there, and I can just literally pop it, melt it through. Well, that effect works better if they're looking slightly down onto your hands and over your shoulder. It's not as good as if you're doing it face to face. So again, another effect like that can work really, really well. So yeah, you could do that's kind of the play that I would go for. And I'm like with all I'm trying to think now. You've really got me on one here, because there's I'm trying to think like how much fun you could have with this. Instead of, like, if you've got those tall tables there, what could you do? Could you place a reveal under it and stick a reveal under it? Could you take advantage of it in some way? I'm thinking like Michael Amar has it's not his trick, but he does it so good. The silk through mic stand, he does it with a coffee mug. But if you're at that level and you've got the tall table legs, which normally are in the way when you're stood up and you bump your feet into them, if you've got those tall table legs and you've got like you can use a hanky or a silk or anything, to do, you could say, watch this, I'm going to show you something. Obviously, I got a different view from what you hear. I want to show you something interesting that I can do, and then just do it through that tall table leg. That's a super visual miracle. And they're going to ask you to do that over and they're probably going to ask you to do it 1,000 times because it looks so good. You could even like try to like sort of incorporate the interest and surroundings that you can see that they can't, and then bring it down. And the other one, of course, is do some. You can just do some amazing app magic too. There's some amazing app things out there that require. It doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing, you know. So that's what my thinking would kind of be. It's funny that a lot of the tricks that I do, like Crazy Man's, the Liquid Band, and a few of the things that have zero angle restrictions, because that's the type of stuff I would recommend doing in your position. So great question. Thank you for answering it or asking it. Hope it answered it in some way for you. And yeah, you know what? Look, this show has been going on. I was going to talk to all of you about a few other things, well, one other thing, but I'm going to save it for another day. It was how to improve your magic to make it better. I'll tell you the nutshell of it. I'll tell you the basic breakdown of it. But I think I could do a whole episode on it. But if you've ever watched a magician do a multi-phase coin routine, go off and watch like 10 videos of good magicians doing multi-phase coin routines, like 3 coins across or 4 coin vanishes or whatever it's going to be. And think to yourself, if I could do magic, or if you want your audience to believe you do magic, is that the way it should be done? And really think, not about, and don't think about creating a profound moment, like an earth-shattering moment for them, but think, if I'm really saying that I can make this coin vanish, am I just gonna skip past it and go, watch, this coin goes from here to here, boom, this one goes from here to here, now it changes back. I just think it's not about slowing your magic down, it's about remembering that this is the first time your audience may have seen a coin vanish. Even if it's the 3rd phase, treat each phase like that coin is really fucking vanishing. Don't just breeze past it and be like, oh, like to that person, you just rushing through that moment is weakening it for them. And all you really need to do is just make one coin vanish sometimes. I don't know. I am paraphrasing. I didn't want to leave this episode without giving you what I promised at the beginning. That was kind of where I was going. I watched a couple of coin guys and they were like, okay, watch this coin. It goes, boom, here, boom, 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 da, 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 da. And I'm thinking, holy shit, like this person in the audience, they've never seen a coin vanish before. And you're just brushing past it like you've just, like you're just picking up another potato chip and sticking it in your gob. Like, think to yourself, because I think the issue is, right, when we practice routines, we practice them. And when you practice them, you kind of get sick of them and you kind of rush through them. And it's like when I edit trailers, I can never listen to a song that I've put in a trailer again because I've listened to it so many times when I edit the trailer, I get sick of it. So if I have to listen to it again, I don't, kind of look away. And I think again, it's that whole thing, like ego over effect, like what Michael's saying, which is that yes, you may have practiced 10,000 hours in your room for this 3-phase coin routine, but don't just rush through it and give and it's not about coins, it's about like ambitious card, for example. How many magicians, even the good guys, even the pros will do, watch it, it comes to the top, boom, it goes back in, watch, we'll do it again. Stop, shut up. If you need to, if somebody is still in that moment for the first time it comes to the top, don't be afraid to let that moment sit for a minute or two. I know magicians that will do their ambitious card routine in 2 minutes flat, and they're not rushing. They're just going through the motion. They got the glassy-eyed stare, and it's like, and there it goes to the top, and there it goes here. Or they're nervous about the performance, and they're not thinking about how insane this is. Like, think about it. If they really, really believe what is happening, like, this is some crazy shit, and you shouldn't just rush through it. Like, let that moment sink in. Let them have that moment. And I tell you, I'm promising you, the next time you perform the first phase, the second phase, the last phase, whatever trick you're doing, treat them all equally. and you'll get better reactions. Whew. I was trying to keep that a tight 1 hour. I have no idea how long this is. I'm assuming it's like nearly 2 hours coming in. But again, big shout out to Stuart Etheridge, who says he wants to get merch. I'd seen another couple of comments dotted around saying that they would totally wear the hat. Stuart said he would wear it on his next flight. And because he keeps trying to get me on that damn airplane to give me a flying lesson, and I'm terrified. But I'm going to do it. Don't know when, but I will. But yeah, so I'm hoping by the next episode I will at least have the a 108.9 Trapdoor radio hat or t-shirt available, just so we can sport it, so you can show that you're a listener next time I see you. Let me know that you're out there. Let me use this platform as magic therapy to the world. Anyways, folks, thank you all so much for tuning in. If you've made it this far, please, as always, hit that subscribe button or follow and notification bell on whatever platform you're watching or listening on. Listeners' questions, drop them to me on social media, either through Instagram or in the comments, or email them to me, which is the best way of doing it, through hello@lloyd.tv. And again, I haven't spoke about this, or I briefly mentioned it. If you want to sign up to my Patreon for the next few days, I am running 50% off. There's a 50% off discount code. The discount code is Craig Petty in all capital letters. You can learn my brand new Infinite account on there, which Craig give 150% rating to. I promise you, it's not just because we're friends. Rating to. Plus, you get my entire back catalogue of just over, I think it's 52 effects, which are my A-list material. The shit that I actually do that's not taught on YouTube. It's the only place you can learn it. It's on my Patreon. And so basically, you can sign up for like, I want to say like £7.50, which is about $10, which is the lowest it'll ever be. I've only ever run this promotion once before. And the discount code is Craig Petty for 50% off. Sorry, didn't want to do any more self-promotion. Hope you enjoyed the episode. I'll be back next Thursday with another 108.9 Trapdoor Radio.
There's a beginning and an end.
You're listening to 108.9 FM. Adjust your frequencies. Fine-tune your mind and brace as you prepare to fall through the trapdoor.
The universal dream